What do I have to do to make my mind shut up? Hi, I'm Rev Andrew Bozeman, and this is On the Wings of Your Mind. What do I have to do to make my mind shut up? You know, most people are not really concerned about making their mind be quiet. They're pretty used to it by now, and the chatter going on in their heads is something they don't even notice anymore. It's just part of the landscape that is always there. Clouds are in the sky, traffic is always bad in the morning when we're going to work, and my mind is always talking to me. That's just the way it is. We only begin to be concerned with mind chatter when we begin to explore self-development for a more successful life, or becoming more spiritual, or just needing to find peace of mind. That's when we begin to realize that our chattering mind is something we'd rather not put up with. And we begin to wish that it would go away, that it didn't have to be that way. In fact, it shouldn't be that way. Please, excuse me, click on the thumbs up button. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. Remember, I would love to hear your comments, your thoughts, your suggestions. Just use the chat box on the right side of the screen, or if you're in replay, use the comment section underneath the video. Okay, so back to the quieting of the mind. Now, one of the benefits of a quiet mind is improved concentration and mental clarity. Now, for me, that improved concentration and mental clarity was a necessity when I was growing up. It was actually a critical part, a critical element in my survival. You see, I was always a quiet child, and I must admit, not very good at physical coordination activities. I guess you could say that I was a bookworm. I read a lot, and I always had questions that no one could or was interested in answering. So I was often alone and often in a state of contemplation where I explored my questions and sought my answers out into the universe, infinite intelligence. So my aloneness was the reason that the survival issue became necessary for me. You see, many times in school when I was young, I was either one of the very few black children or the only black child in my classes. And since I was always surrounded by white children, I had to be hyper aware of my surroundings and their reactions to me. You see, in the 1950s and the 1960s, the propaganda about black people was almost totally derogatory. We were supposed to be lazy. We were supposed to be unintelligent. We were supposed to be academically non-competitive. So everything I did was expected to serve as an example of what black people were like and what black people did. So I was a curiosity. But since I was not a dummy, my parents demanded that I do well in school. They expected me to do my best. They expected me to excel in school. So I was an excellent student, and I was at the top of my class. So I was seen as a threat because I was expected to be at the bottom of the class, not at the top. So sometimes there was hostility against me in response to my success as a student at the top of the class. I was often called the teacher's pet. So experience taught me that it was not a good idea to be caught alone without other people around. Not a good idea at all. It was not safe. So a quiet yet alert mind kept me out of trouble. Now, one of the things I noticed about people as I've grown older is that a lot of people are afraid of the quiet. They get agitated when they're not in the middle of noise. If they're in a car, their radio has to be blasting music, usually loud enough to entertain the whole neighborhood. When they're at work, they have to have the radio on to distract them. When they're in stores or in elevators or doctor's offices, they have to have the sound of background music to keep them calm. Why is that? I had come to the conclusion that being in the quiet exposes people to the terror of their own thoughts. According to Blaise Pascal, who was a 17th century French mathematician, physicist, inventor, philosopher, writer, and Catholic theologian, all of man's problems could be solved if he could just learn to sit alone in a room with himself for an hour. So why am I bothering with this quieting of the mind? Well, aside from the fact that we all need some peace and quiet, I'm an advocate of the quiet mind because being a spiritual warrior requires a quiet mind. It's a matter of the effective application of power. We've all seen movie scenes where a life and death situation, a defibrillator is needed. The one with the hand pads that they put on someone's chest and then shock them into real life again. Well, what happens is when they charge up the defibrillator and they put it on the chest, they hit them with the shock to shock the heart back into reality. But if it doesn't work the first time, they have to apply the shock again, a second time. But they can't do it right away because the machine has to be charged up. It's the same with our minds and with our words. If we are constantly in the motion, if our minds and our words are constantly going, they never get a chance to build up a charge. So they have very little power that can be applied when needed. So what kind of power does a quiet mind give to you? Well, one, it reduces stress because when the mind is calm and quiet, the body is calm and quiet. That means all the stress chemicals are not burning your body out. And that gives your immune system time to charge up so it can protect you from illness and disease. Two, a quiet mind amplifies your creativity. If your mind is always busy, then your creativity has difficulty finding a way to break through. And without your creativity, you can't find new ways to do things. Three, it helps break self-destructive patterns. You see, if your mind runs free to do its own thing all the time, you got up to 60,000 thoughts a day running through your head. And then tomorrow you'll have the same 60,000 thoughts a day running through your head. And the day after you'll have the same 60,000 thoughts a day running through your head. And so it all begins to look the same to you, and it can look discouraging. So what's left but to smoke, drink, do reckless things, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. And finally, four, a quiet mind has a greater ability to concentrate. It can think clearer without the mind fog of constant negative chatter coming at it. And it can see the solution to problems much quicker, much more easily. And frankly, there's no substitute for being at peace. We've all experienced it at one time or another, peace. Maybe only for a few seconds or minutes, but it was there briefly, peace. See if you can think back and remember how that felt to have peace. So how do we get there? Well, for the past couple of days, I've been talking about the benefits of contemplation, which is a way to let your mind go into a state where you get out of yourself and into the beauty and gifts around you while you reflect upon an issue, a thought, a problem. Contemplation can quiet your mind because it allows you to ignore your mind. It allows you to ignore the flood of thoughts coming at you, negative thoughts. And you just let that flood of thoughts pass through you like a river flowing past you. Nothing sticks. Nothing clings. Nothing holds on. You just let it all flow. And eventually your mind will quiet down and go to sleep because you're not paying attention to it. Another form of quieting your mind is meditation. Its foundation is built upon quieting the mind. So we're going to dedicate our live cast tomorrow to the subject of meditation and the different forms of meditation that you can use to get quiet. I'm looking forward to it. Let's close with prayer. Thank you, Infinite Intelligence. Thank you for bringing us into this space of awareness and a deeper understanding of ourselves and our relationship to life and infinite intelligence. Thank you for showing us who we really are. We open our minds and hearts to the truth of our being. We are the children of God. We are individualized expressions of infinite intelligence. And because we are part of the greater whole, we are beginning to understand our value to the continuity of life on this planet. And as we become channels of your power, infinite intelligence, we can feel your presence within ourselves and within our lives more and more. We know that as we feel your presence within our lives every day, we will rise because we are no longer cut off from you by being immersed in the darkness of fear, anger, and the pain of unforgiveness. So we are now restoring our connection through the grace of forgiveness, knowing that as we forgive ourselves for the pain that we have caused ourselves, and as we learn to forgive those who have inflicted pain upon us, our connections will grow stronger, and our lives will grow happier, healthier, and more prosperous. And for this, we are truly grateful. As above, so below. As within, so without. And so it is. Amen. Again, please click on the thumbs up button. And if you haven't already done so, please choose to subscribe. I'd love to hear from you in terms of your thoughts, comments, questions, etc. You can use the chat box on the right side of the screen or the comment section below the video. I want to thank you very much for watching today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And I am Rev Andrew Bozeman. And this is On the Wings of Your Mind.